Shalom everyone, Baruchim Habayim, B'Shem Hashem Na'atzeh V'Natzliach. This is the 7th shiur in Olam Hamidot, B'ezrat Hashem, and the last thing that we said was about Esav. That had Esav made the correct choices, his descendants would have been true to Hashem, and unfortunately they lost everything. Why? Because he didn't perfect himself the way he should have. Now, this segment is a continuation in Olam Hamidot about the midah of Olam HaEmet. We're going to be dealing with the world of Emet. If someone will rebuke a person for something, a person shouldn't right away justify himself before the other person finishes speaking even. Like, sometimes, you tell someone you're doing something wrong, right away he'll jump at you and say, no, I meant this and I meant that. We need to listen well to what he says. Why? Because it's possible, even if what he says is not completely true, but there is some truth in what he says. And there is something that we could fix and change. Why is it that a person has a hard time accepting rebuke, accepting musar from someone else? It's because a person wants to believe that he's perfect. And he doesn't want to look bad in the other person's eye. He wants the other person to believe that he is perfect and he is good. That's why when the other person comes to him and tells him that he's doing something wrong or what he did was not good, right away he wants to justify himself, to show that, no, I'm good. This way he looks good in his own eye, he looks good in the eyes of the person. But the truth is, a person has to look at himself through the view of Emet. And a person has to, within his own heart, accept that he is not perfect, right? He has things that need to be mended, things that he has to fix. So it shouldn't be his first reflex that, I have to show that I'm fine, that I am perfect, that I am good, there is no problem with me. He has to remember that his job is that he needs to look good in front of Hashem and not to look good and be righteous in the eyes of the people. We have to understand that the words of musar that a person gets, they are for our own benefit. From them, we could pick up what we're missing, what we are lacking. Then we'll know what to fix. They say a story about the Imre Emet that when he was younger, he would study all the time with his father the Sefat Emet, the Gerer Rebbe. And one time the Imre Emet, he came late, and his father rebuked him. He says, "What are you doing? Bitul Torah is a grave sin. You're wasting time." Mother walks in and told her husband, our son was studying Torah all night. And by the way, that's why he was late. So the father turns to him and says, "Hey, why didn't you tell me?" What does the son say? He says, "I would tell you and I would lose out the chance to hear musar from my father." So they were looking for it. Everyone, the Gedolim were looking for someone to give them musar, to give them rebuke. That this way, we are on our toes. We are trying to fix ourselves. We also have to know that it is very hard for a person to recognize what he's lacking. There is a saying, it's by Matzarat. It says, Kol hanegaim ro'eh adam chutz minigeh atzmo. Person needs to know good the halachot of Tzarat good, before he checks someone who has sara'at out. And it says that a person could see everybody else's sara'at, negaim, to see if this is sara'at, this is not sara'at. It says he could do, this diagnosis on everyone except for himself. So, Ba'alei Musar, they use this terminology for Musar as well. They say a person could see everybody else's issues and problems and lackings except for himself, right? When a person views in his own view, like, it's almost impossible that he could see what he's missing, what he needs to fix, whether it's things that are between him and those around him, whether it's things that are between him and Hashem. That's why people, they do things, they don't even realize that they're doing something wrong. And if they knew how these actions look in the eyes of the other people, they would be embarrassed. They would change their ways. That's why when a person is willing to accept someone else giving him musar, someone telling him, listen, you could fix yourself, you could change yourself, and through that he could recognize what he is missing, that's a big benefit. Also, if a person hears people are talking about him, pay attention. Maybe there is something, maybe there is a little truth in what they're saying, and then that would be a great opportunity that we could fix ourselves. Chachamim tell us in Gemara Masechet Shabbat that when they bring a person to be judged, they ask him a few questions. First question is, Nasata v'natata be'emunah. Did you perform your business dealings with trust? That means, were you a trustworthy person? Did you lie? Did you resort to lying? Did you resort to steal? And that's the first question. Second question is, did you set a time for Torah study? Third one is, were you osek bepirya v'rivya? Were you trying to bring children into the world? And what do we see from the Gemara? That the first question that they ask a person in the world of truth is, was his business dealings straightforward? It says in the Gemara Masechet Baba Metzia that if he gives money for an object and he didn't yet take the object to himself, he didn't pull the object for himself, even though he already paid, he could change his mind and say, you know what, I don't want that object. But our Chachamim said, once you paid the money, once you said you're going to buy this object, there is a punishment. The one that punished the people of the generation of the Mabul and the generation of the dispersion. He will in the future punish a person that doesn't stand in his word. You give your word, even though the transaction wasn't complete, you cannot go back on your word. In the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says, come and see, Rabbi Yochanan says, how great is the power of Hamas. Hamas means stealing. Because the generation of Mabul, they did all kinds of sins, they committed everything, but their seal for their destruction and annihilation was only when they started stealing. Like it says in the Torah, Ki mal'a ha'aretz Hamas mipenehem, because the earth was filled with Hamas, with stealing before them. And that's why I'm destroying them. And we have to understand, why was the seal of their destruction because of stealing? We had other grave sins, adultery, idolatry. They're much worse than and we see the punishments for them are much worse than for stealing. The answer is that midata emet, going in the emet, in the truth, this is the foundation of everything, right? Even if there are other sins that are even worse, but a person could fix them. Once he is able to accept what the truth is, he'll fix them. But once a person falls so low that he doesn't have that straightforward view, what is correct, what is not correct, what is emet, what is not emet. That line is distorted, and he sees something that his friend has and owns as his own, then there is no hope for it, right? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives that person what belongs to him and gives you what belongs to you. And once a person goes and steals, he is overstepping that boundary. And now we could understand. There is a Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin that says that the beginning of the judgment of the person is for Torah. And right there, the Tosafot asks, this is what are you talking about? It says in Gemara Shabbat that the first judgment is about he's being straightforward in his business dealings, not Torah. And they give answers. The second answer that they give is that, you know what? It's both true. If you pay attention to the wording in the Talmud, is that the first question that I ask a person is about his business dealings. That's the first question. That's what he's going to be asked in the heavenly court. But when it comes to judgment, punishment, what he will be punished, what he will be judged for, is for Torah. Now, that's the answer. So let's understand this answer also. So, if learning Torah is more important, so then let the judgment, let the questioning also begin with Torah. And if being honest in business is more important, then let him be judged for that as well. But according to what we just answered, that for sure, learning Torah is a very grave sin if a person does not learn Torah. And but if a person is not honest, right, then what is he good for? What is his learning Torah good for? If he's not honest in his business, if he's not doing it properly, if he's not going after emet, which is the foundation of the essence of the person, like our Chachamim said, derech eretz kadma leTorah. If a person is not straightforward, he's not honest, he's not proper, then his Torah learning is not going to help him. And from here we move to understand how much it is important as part of midah of emet, how much attention we have to pay to when it comes to other people's property, other people's assets. Chachamim said, Yehi mamon chavercha chaviv alecha keshelcha. Other person's assets and money should be important to you like yours, like your own money. It's as if yours. Our Chachamim said, Kol hagozeret chavero shaveh peruta, one who steals from someone else, even a shaveh peruta is like 5 cents, right? It's like he's taking away his neshama. It says, by Yitro, when Yitro went ahead and advised Moshe Rabbeinu to set up the court system, and he says, "V'shafetu et ha'am," they should judge the people b'chol et, at all times. V'haya kol hadavar hagadol, something that is big, yaviu elecha, they should bring to you. V'chol hadavar hakatan, something that is small, they should judge. The judges, lower level judges, they should judge themselves. V'hakel me'alecha, this will make the burden light on you, and they all carry the weight with you. Yitro used the terms katan and gadol, something great and something small, right? When you go later and you see Moshe implementing it, right, and he's setting up the court, he says, "V'shaftu et ha'am b'chol et hadavar hakasheh." They will judge everyone, and something which is harsh, they will bring to Moshe. V'chol hadavar hakatan, something which is small, they will judge themselves. He interchanged the word gadol with kashe, great with harsh. What does that mean? The Farshim explain. They say that Yitro thought that, when there is a dispute which entails a large sum of money, something which is very important, that Moshe should deal with. Other things that are small, the other judges should judge. But Moshe answered, no. Even a tiny, small amount of money is great, is big. There is no large sum of money or small sum of money that will make a difference here. And Moshe is saying that that in this case, it all depends on how tough and how harsh and how complicated and complex the question here is. If it's something easy, the judges themselves could handle it. But when it gets complicated, that's when they should come to Moshe. No one should say, "Oh, it's only a couple of cents. It's okay. Let it go. I'm gonna let it go." No, if it's a few cents, it's important for the person. We need to pay attention to it. We need to take care of it. Our Chachamim said, a person stole a certain amount of wheat. He ground it and he kneaded it and he baked it. Beautiful bread. And what did he do? He separated challah from this. The Gemara says, how is it possible that this person could make a beracha on separating challah? This person is not giving a blessing. He is contrary. He is saying blasphemy. He is doing the opposite of beracha towards Hashem. Like it says in Tehillim, Botseya berach, one who steals and he makes a beracha, ni'etz Hashem. This person is saying blasphemy. What do Chachamim say? They're saying that the beracha, when you make a beracha, you are showing that you recognize that everything comes from Hashem. The Hashem ha'aretz umlo'ah, everything on earth belongs to Hashem. And this person stole. What is he showing? He doesn't recognize this. He doesn't recognize that everything belongs to Hashem. Because if he did, why is he stealing? Hashem owns everything. Hashem controls everything. He's the one that gives parnasah to everyone. Like our Chachamim said, Kol mezonotav shel Adam. All of the mezonot, all of the livelihood of a person is set for him from Rosh Hashanah until next Rosh Hashanah, except for the spendings of Shabbat and Yom Tov, and sending his children to study Torah. So, therefore, this person that's making a beracha, what is he doing? He is not saying a beracha. He is not in recognition that everything comes from Hashem. His actions are showing exactly the opposite. If a person, chas v'shalom, finds himself in the test of stealing or other trickery, he has to know, he has to remember that besides the fact that he's putting his own Olam haba in jeopardy, right? Even in this world, he won't have proper beracha. We're going to see later. It says in Mishle, Deracheha darche no'a v'chol netivotah shalom, that all the paths, all the ways of Hashem are pleasant and is all peaceful. That means the way of the Torah is all for the benefit of the human being, whether in this world, whether in Olam haba. Like our Chachamim says, Nasata v'natata be'emunah, did you do your business dealings with emunah? We have to explain, emunah means emunah in Hashem. Not only being trustworthy, but you had emunah in Hashem, that if a person really believes in Hashem, really believes that everything is in the hands of Hashem, for sure he won't fall in the hands of the Yetzer Hara to steal from his friend. But we also have to recognize that not always are we stealing intentionally. Sometimes a person steals unintentionally. The Rambam brings down in Halachot Teshuvah that there are 5 things that a person does, amongst other 19 things, altogether 25 things. 5 things that he does, he would normally not do teshuvah on them. Why? Because in the eyes of the people, these things are too light. They don't think that these are acts of avera, of sin. So it comes out that this person sins, but he thinks that he didn't sin. And the first one that he enumerates is ha'ochel miseuda she'ena mesapeket lebe'aleha. One who eats from a seuda, but the seuda, poor things, the owners of the seuda, it's not even enough for them. He walks into this house. He sees they have a few pieces of chicken. And there are like 5 kids. And they're the parents. So he realizes, he recognizes, it's not even enough for them. Right? And he sits down and eats. Right? This is avak gezer. This is like stealing. He thinks that he didn't steal. He says, what? I ate with their permission. They invited me. They told me to come and eat. He says, you see, like it's such a minute thing in our eyes, but reality is, the Rambam is counting it as something that a person doesn't even do teshuvah on it. That's why we need to be very careful not to pressure a friend of ours to give us something, and he's going to be stuck in a situation, he's going to be embarrassed, and he's going to give in, right? Because if he's not giving it with a full heart, this is avak gezel. This is like stealing. We have to be very careful when we're selling something, not to pressure anyone, right, to buy the thing from us, right? And for sure, not to chas v'shalom say lies in order to get the person to buy these things. People are moreh heter. They think it's mutar. They say, "What do you mean? Everyone does it, right?" I'm more careful than other people. I don't lie as much, but chas v'shalom, that a person should have such behavior, right? And to think that it's fine. It doesn't make a difference if your clients are Jewish or not Jewish. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's not emet. He has to trust in Hashem, right? That Hashem is going to bring everything that he needs for him. And in this zechut, when he does this, right, that's when a person will get the beracha from Hashem. Thank you very much for coming, and kol tov.